All things Church of God. Here we go. All right, I just asked. You giggled. Have you always talked like that?
Talk like I talk now.
Yeah.
As far as I can remember.
Like, man, you have like the perfect preacher voice.
No, I wouldn't go with that.
Like as a mix of like T.D. Jakes and like, I mean, you got that deep like, man.
It's the Flippo lungs, I guess.
But your brother doesn't talk like that, right?
No. He will at times, but not consistently, no. No, he took a lot more after Mom anyways.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this is just normal.
it's just normal.
Interesting.
Yep.
Let's talk. Let's start in South Carolina.
Okay.
Because General Assembly's coming up, but then also ministers' meeting after that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the anticipation and heartbreak of walking into a ministers' meeting expecting to be voted on a board and not. I'll share my story really quickly. I remember. I'm not even gonna guess like I remember the year, but maybe 2012. And there were the rumors I was going to get on the youth board, and I remember the year before I had a really strong push, and I remember walking into that ministers' meeting with high expectations, and everybody would say things to me like, "Oh, it's going to be you. It's going to be, you know what?"
Right.
And
A lot of minor prophets.
Right. And you try your best to play it off.
Right.
And then I got to the moment and I didn't yet put on the youth board, and I honestly felt a little brokenhearted. You ever experienced that?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I
thought so.
Yeah.
I thought if I was remembering correctly, you had.
It's human nature. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with being excited by the anticipation of being honored by the men of the state, men and women, the ministers of the state.
Yeah.
And when you hear all the chatter, like you always hear, and the inner self kind of gets puffed up, like, man, I'm ready for this. I'm excited about this. And then all of a sudden to see the results go on the screen, it is heartbreaking and disappointing. But in the moment, you have to try your best not to show it as much. And just remember, and this is a hard lesson to walk out. It's easily taught. Harder walked out is at the end of the day, God puts you where he wants you at his time.
Yeah.
And even when it's not your time, you have to accept that it's not your time, because your time will be future, possibly, hopefully down the road. And Dad helped me out a lot with that, because Dad experienced kind of the same thing when he came back into ministry and started going on boards, different things, some things happened, and he experienced the same thing. So that kind of helped me in that moment in time. Whenever
you got on the youth board, I'm going to say 4 years ago, because you're coming off this year.
Yeah.
4 years ago, Scotty was already gone?
Yes.
So you walked in with Chad and then Josh.
Chad,
so you've served under two.
Yes.
And what I always tell people is, once you get on the board, you find that you're not nearly as vital or important as you thought you were prior to getting on, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're not the one deciding who's coming to speak at youth camps or what the theme of camp is, or realistically anything about any of the events.
Yes.
The same way you and I are pastors in our church and we tell our staff, here goes what we want to see happen, is the same way the youth director or state overseer feels about his camps or events or whatever, and says, here they are, go run with them.
Right.
I served my youth board, I served under Rob Bailey, and then a little bit under Scotty Haker, maybe 2 years under Scotty. I can't remember. And so I got to see both of them completely different in how they attack things.
Yeah.
Rob was, this is your event. You're in charge. Go. Here goes what I want to see happen from this event. This is your event. Go take it. Go tackle it. Scotty was, we're all a big team. Let's go do this event together. We all show up. We all pitch in. We all tackle all of the things.
Right.
What's Josh's means of leadership right
now? Josh's means, I think, is it's very, okay, let's come together. Let's get some ideas. Now, Josh is very good at using the youth board as a sounding board during meetings. What do you guys think about this? What are your opinions? And then kind of grouping us into, we each have, now I don't know what it was like when you were on the youth board, but we each have portfolios.
Yeah, for sure.
And my portfolio, I think, is the Skycla Conference and the Orphan Run for Hope and maybe some others. So we are enabled in those areas, and we are the lead people. We're the point people on that. But at the end of the day, we still come together and we talk with everyone as a group. Where do we need to go? What do we need to do? And at the end of the day, Josh will say, okay, we'll fix this. We'll change that. Maybe we won't go that route. Maybe we won't do that, and different things like that, which encompasses all with leadership.
For sure.
And one thing I realized you talked about when you finally walked into the room, one thing you realize is until you get in the room, you have no clue what the room's like.
No doubt about it.
Sitting from the outside, and this is coming from somebody who has been coming to camp, going to camp since 5 or 6 years old, working camp.
Same.
I can remember, shout out to Delton Hand, when he was on the youth board and I was 14, 15 years old, calling Dad saying, we need a counselor. Can he come counsel many weeks? So I've been working camp a long time. Every leadership is different. Every leadership style is different. But when you walk in there, you walk in and you think, man, we're going to change the world.
Yeah.
It's okay to expect that. But at the end of the day, you have to understand and realize that there is a leadership hierarchy here, and we have to do things and we have to follow support as best we can. And hopefully things go the route we want to and different things like that.
Yeah, and youth board specifically, you're coming off this time. Are there conversations of who's up next? And we don't have to say names or anything of that nature, but are those conversations happening inside of your circle, your sphere of influence? Because honestly, the further I get away from the youth board, the more I'm looking and leaning on Christy, who's on the youth board, Carson Stout, some of those people to say, hey, who are y'all's people that are of value? Are y'all having those conversations?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I am, because at the end of the day, your ministers' meeting is coming.
Yeah.
And as much as we try to put it in the back room, it's a realistic thing that people are going to be talking about who we need to put on and who are the people that need to be put on.
Yeah.
The ones who work camp, the ones who support the program, different things like that. So I'm talking it in my sphere of influence because I'm coming off, and I think there's 5 coming off this time. That's a lot of spots to fill.
A lot of spots.
So names are being talked and different things like that, especially me, I am.
Yeah, and honestly, we're youth camp season, but also camp meeting season, where you're walking in there and there's a lot of those conversations are happening there, because maybe the last time we meet before ministers meeting
would be PD camp.
Oh, we do meet at PD camp. Yeah, we do. A couple weeks before, right?
Right.
So
that's the last big thing before ministers meeting.
Before ministers meeting. And honestly, we're going into General Assembly where who knows what happens there.
Exactly.
Who knows who's coming back as far as in the office, director-wise, overseer-wise,
the only
all
sure
that
thing
stuff.
about General Assembly is that you don't know anything.
That is the truth. Growing up in a preacher's kid's home.
Yes.
Do you remember your dad traveling and doing evangelism?
I was very, very little when Dad was a state evangelist twice in the 80s, and then he went to West Florence. That was his first church.
Okay.
And just, got out of ministry. Nothing immoral happened, just everything didn't go to plan like he thought. Just got out of ministry and then come back into evangelistic ministry. I was maybe 4 or 5 years old. I was really young. So I would remember when he would be gone and we would stay with Mom and different things like that. But we never traveled with him, but I do remember him going and traveling and being gone, evangelizing, because that was our livelihood. He was putting food on the table and different things like that.
So then you followed in those footsteps for the first 4 years of ministry?
Almost 6 years.
6 years of ministry.
I was an evangelist,
Traveling evangelist and crushing it, doing a great thing.
I was a traveling evangelist, preaching 200-plus times a year and teaching school full-time. Yes.
Let's talk about the role of the evangelist inside of the let's start statewide.
Okay.
Role of the evangelist on a statewide level. The program has been demolished, gone, done away with.
They ended it right as I was coming into evangelism.
Okay. And by program, we mean there were some benefits of maybe your insurance or something like that was taken care of, and maybe, hey, if you go to said smaller churches.
And they wasn't able to adequately pay you, the state could compensate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things of that nature. There are a few little benefits like that. So did away with that program. The traveling evangelist is kind of, I won't say dead, but it is on life support. There's some inside of our state still. I know Neil has one, Judah, inside of his church that he promotes sometimes, but it is not. Let's talk traveling evangelist or the evangelism department, or that mindset of somebody saying, I'm going to go out there and be a voice for the body of Christ to the local church, but understand my role. What did you think your role was whenever you walked into those churches?
I viewed my role as a revivalist.
Okay.
To go in there and try to curate, revive something in there so when I leave, the pastor has something to run with.
Love it.
My job wasn't to go in and pastor the church. My job wasn't to preach pastoral messages. I didn't view myself anyways that way.
Love it.
My job was to go in there, let's light this fire. I'm going to go and you're going to have this, run with it, and we'll watch God do something incredible. That's what I viewed myself as for those almost 6 years that I did it.
Was that wisdom from your dad?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dad viewed himself the very same way. What I will say, dealing with the evangelism department, state, international as a whole in its entirety, is we as a denomination have to figure out what kind of evangelism we're wanting to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Are we wanting to go back to state evangelists? I would love that because I was one, and I think there's a dire need for that. But in that, we have to create the programs that are going to build and curate these evangelists and teach them how to be evangelists, how to conduct yourself, how to carry yourself, how to walk into a pastor's pulpit and treat it with the utmost honor and respect, and how to mingle with pastors day to day, how to be at state meetings, and can I come preach for you? And you know my dad, I was raised with a dad. I wanted to preach with everybody, and I didn't care if I had to sleep on the floor, if I had to sleep in my car. I want to come preach for you. You ain't got to pay me nothing, and I just wanted to come preach. If we could get to the point, if we want to see that again, we've got to make the decision on what kind of evangelism we want to see going forward in the Church of God.
I love it. I actually think changing the verbiage from evangelist to revivalist makes so much sense to me.
Yes, I do too.
Because for me, I love whenever I'm bringing in speakers, I'm looking for a pastor who's going to speak to my congregation from a pastor's heart, or I'm looking for a revivalist that's going to stir that up. And I struggle with the concept of not what an evangelist should do, but the word evangelist has been used, and it has maybe grafted in so many different ministers.
The umbrella has extended so far that we've got to fine-tune what we actually view as an evangelist.
Yeah, if somebody is putting themselves out there as a revivalist rather than an evangelist, I think I would be more apt to say, hey, I'm interested.
And that may be the route we need to go, is say, hey, let's define this as a revivalist. Because unfortunately, the days of the Sunday to Wednesday meetings. But if we can help build whatever terminology you want to use there, guys who can go in there for a service or even a couple of services, or if you want to do a weekend and say, hey, we've got this state guy who will come in, he will help your church, he will light a fire, he's not going to preach any junk, he's going to be with the Word, he's going to stick with the Word, he's got our stamp of approval on. That would actually help guys out, because at the end of the day, there's not a list of there's an evangelist, I'll call him to come to my church now. There's not anymore. There used to be.
We used to have a state news where in the back of the state news it had all of the
almost a Rolodex of names that people you can call, but now there's not there. So I think if we could maybe manufacture that in that way and say, hey, guys, we've got these list of guys. If you need somebody, they'll go, much like Neil does at Paul Ministry.
Yeah, for sure.
He's got those hand of ministers that he helps with the state, and he says, I'll send them if you need me. If we could do that on a statewide level, I think that would kind of help move us back toward having some kind of role of an evangelist, revivalist, whatever kind of terminology we use in that point.
Yeah, it's so interesting because, you know, Mike Wooten, who is our, I guess, evangelism director. I don't know what his official title is anymore. You know, they've changed it a few times, but let's call him for this conversation the evangelism director. Mike Wooten, our evangelism director. If that sphere of ministry fell under him, that would be another challenge to figure out all of the details of. Man, that's tricky.
That is.
No wonder they canceled it. So when you weren't preaching, where did you go to church?
North Spartanburg, Dad.
With your dad? You had a house there, or you lived with him?
We lived in an apartment.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And your wife and Did you have kids at the time?
No, I didn't. We didn't try to have kids while I was on the road because there were some weeks the only time I saw Brittany was when I come home at night for bed.
Yeah.
So when we got into pastoring at our first church, that's when we decided, okay, now we're ready. So we had Breland.
So did she travel with you when it was just you and her?
No. She worked a full-time job as well.
Yeah.
So she got to come on Sundays, but during the week she hardly ever got to come.
Yeah. What's the coolest place you've ever preached at?
Well, here, of course, man.
Besides here, what's the coolest place you've ever preached at?
Oh, man. I've preached at a lot of cool places. I preached for Neil several times at City of Hope.
Nice.
It was always when he wasn't there, though.
Yeah.
But anyways. Preached for Al Sims at Bethesda.
Nice.
Preached for Dole Roberts at International Praise.
Boy, they'll preach you to death one day.
Man. You talk about having fun in that place and just a place of honor. And I know you've talked about this and others, but the way that place honors the preacher, I mean, it's phenomenal.
They're in Agape, both of them.
I've preached for Vince at Agape, same
way.
Same thing. So I've been blessed. I got to preach for David Kemp at Fort Mill.
Nice.
So the Lord's blessed, and a lot of doors were open while I evangelized, and I was able to stay busy by the grace of God, that's for sure.
So favorite place to preach? Not here. Let's pick one. Where's the one that you're just like that was it? That was, if I could go back and you have one opportunity to go back and preach somewhere. Where is it?
Man, I love to preach in the International Praise. I did.
Come on, Jason, hell that man out. Call him back. Call him back for a service.
Lord have mercy.
I've never preached at Fort Mill. Never preached at Bethesda. I honestly have never preached a lot around the state. It's just not something that. Maybe I feel gifted in that evangelistic style is not me. I'm definitely way more pastoral. Did you find yourself whenever you shifted to pastoral ministry, you find yourself changing maybe even some verbiage or some things in how you were walking?
I definitely had to change the way I preached because evangelist preaching is totally different from pastoral preaching. Yeah. Now, the one thing I enjoy about pastoral preaching more than I did with evangelist preaching is with pastoral preaching, I can go a lot deeper and more in depth, and I'm able to see the fruit produce in the members' lives.
That's what I love about pastoral ministry.
And that's I could never go back. Now, I loved my time, and of course the Lord said and all that.
Sure.
But to ever go back to evangelize and not when I get to see people's lives change in one place week after week after week, and you really get to pour into them in a more deepness of the word than you could as an evangelist. So that's one thing. Because as an evangelist, I went in there for the immediate effect. As a pastor, I want the long-term ramifications.
So when you go and you're called to do a prayer conference in Illinois or wherever they're calling you out of state to come in, are you now, okay, let me shift hats, let me put back on my revivalist hat?
It's a little combination of both.
Okay.
Now, I will say that even though it's pastoral preaching, it's still in the, if we want to use this verbiage, the flair of an evangelist. Yeah. I'm still going in there, and as I say, I'm getting with it. I'm throwing down, but it's with more meat on the bone and more content. So
let's give some guys some wisdom who are young, starting out. I think this is good, healthy conversation. Let's give some guys some wisdom, young, starting out. They call up. Do you have young guys come preach for you now?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, they call you up and they say, "Hey, Bishop Filippo, I would love to come, on a Sunday night or Wednesday night. I'll teach a Sunday school class if you'll let me one Sunday. I would just love an opportunity." Give them wisdom of what they should say in that moment or the questions they should ask.
When you call with the "I would love to come," first, you've got to know the culture of that church.
Yeah.
Number two, as soon as you walk in that place, you've got to understand the people of that church. Some places.
Where do they get that from? From social media? Are they searching you out for social media? How are they finding those answers?
Social media. Before I went to a place, now just growing up in this thing, I've always been a part of it. I knew a lot of the churches already.
You knew if you're going to Chirral, you kind of have preconceived ideas of what's at Chirral.
How I'm going to carry myself.
North Spartanburg or wherever it is.
The terminology I would use as opposed to this place or that place. I'm here, so maybe I can increase my vernacular a little bit. Here, I can just be a little, more, however you want to frame that there. But looking on social media, what's this place like? And then maybe calling some other people who have preached there.
Okay.
Hey, what was this church like? They booked me and I'm going, and I want to make sure I'm prepared and good to go. What was it like? What was the service like? How did it feel? How did you operate? And different things like that. And with social media, even more so than when I started, 12 years ago, is so exponentially more that you have all this media that you can look out for and see what kind of church it is to know how I'm supposed to go in there.
Did most guys tell you, hey, wear a tie, or don't wear a tie, or hey, no blue jeans? Did most guys tell you how they wanted you to present yourself? Was that a question that you asked?
No, I always wore suit and tie.
Always wore suit and tie.
That's just me.
Yeah.
Still to this day, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Now, when I came and preached for you because I knew the church, I wore jeans and a button down. If I knew the place, like when I came and preached for you and some others, I did differently. But just on the general spectrum as almost a safety measure.
Yeah.
I'm just going to dress like this because I would rather be overdressed than underdressed.
If somebody calls you and says, hey, what do I wear? What would you say?
Suit and tie.
Suit and tie.
Yeah.
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 That's awesome.
But that's just me, though. That's
it's
me.
because you don't have a gut like me, okay?
Whatever.
So if you had a gut like me, the bigger the gut gets, the harder suits and which I guess your dad would fight against that because your dad always wore suits and ties.
Dad's a big man, yeah.
And he's a big man, so maybe not. Maybe I've just not found the right
the size of the shirt.
Right, maybe I've not found the right suit and tie to wear to where it fits me well.
They got a stretchy material now.
They do have that stretchy material now. Man, if y'all see me in suit and tie later, y'all know what's happening. I'm working on my image.
Crazy.
Best camp meeting preacher you've ever heard?
Kid Box.
Oh, man, he's preaching for us next week.
Phenomenal.
And I cannot wait.
I consider Kid Box one of my mentors. I talk to him frequently.
Really?
And we got connected. It was 2009 camp meeting in Malden, which is the first time he preached here. It was under Probst.
Mm-hmm.
And we got connected there, and then we got connected again in 2012, and he gave me his number then.
Nice.
Because I was just starting to accept a call in the ministry, and we've stayed. He's preached for me numerous times at Lando, and my people love him. But he's probably, in my generation, and I know I love Tim Hill, but to me, my favorite.
Tim watches this podcast. Bishop Hill watches this podcast.
Bishop Hill, you're amazing.
Very often.
But my favorite is Kid Box.
Yeah.
So... this generation. Now, if we're talking all time, that's a wholly different conversation.
Let's talk the best service you've ever been in at a camp meeting. Do you remember the best service you've ever been in? Because, again, you're deep in it like I am. Like, we've been to many.
There's been
PD,
some incredible.
Malden, yeah. Or even youth camp. Best service you've ever been in at any of those
best
state
service ever
events.
at a youth camp was in Malden. Neil Nolan was preaching.
Nice.
And incredible service. And Neil actually spoke over me, as he's spoken over everybody. Spoke over me about, it's time to accept the call and everything.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that service. That's the best youth camp service I've ever been a part of. Best camp meeting, prayer conference, PD camp meeting service. Probably spirit-wise, I can't remember exactly when it is, maybe 2013, 2014, but it was with Brian Cutshaw.
Okay.
And I'm talking about that place come unglued.
Nice.
He didn't even preach that night, I don't even think.
Yeah.
I'm talking about he come unglued. And just the Spirit of God fell, and people was running all over. They were falling out. They could have just blew on them and had a T.L. Lowry moment. They could all just fell out. But that's probably been the best single service I can remember being in camp meeting.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I think back over our heritage of all the different moments and opportunities that we have, and I think of like a Kid Box now who's coming up, who's kind of carrying that torch for us right now. There's some more,
right?
The Barry Clardy's of the world. There's some more that are kind of in that same
the next generation under,
right? That's coming up.
Right.
The revivalist mentality that are just incredible gifts to our tribe.
Yes.
And I know Jerry hates when we say the word tribe, but
Tribe.
But our tribe, they're incredible gifts.
Right.
And the flip side is I love all the pastoral heart people as well. I love J.C. Worley and the Mo.
Right.
Both of them preached for me recently, and both of them are just such pastors that are passionately pleading with people.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyways, there's this cool dynamic inside of the fivefold ministry operating,
Right,
you know, and it's
right.
beautiful. But I love watching the Kip Boxes of the world and the Barry Clardy's of the world that are continuing in a wave of Pentecost and the revivalist mentality into my son,
Right.
and not only the next generation, but like generations to come, like impacting generations to come. And I hope that whenever Kip Box retires or Barry Clardy retires, those are the two that I think of right off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more that I'm leaving out right now. Those are the two that are kind of, I don't know, for some reason, just at the forefront of my mind. But I hope when some of those guys retire, people look at them the way I look at a Floyd LaHawn.
Right.
Or some of those guys that were just so incredibly impactful inside of our denomination.
I think at the end of the day they will.
Yeah.
I think because, and me and you have talked this, every generation has different sets of leaders, and it's called the changing of the guard.
Yeah.
And right now, the church, denominationally and statewide, is in that flow of it's the next changing of the guard.
Yeah.
So we are, in one retrospect, honoring the leaders who are exiting. Not that they are irrelevant to us, but we are honoring them. But then we are also embracing the next generation of leaders who are coming up to say, hey, we're in good hands. Everything's going to be okay because the same fire that was in them is also in them. So we have nothing to fear, nothing to worry about.
Which is so beautiful.
Yes.
You know, I think of Ken Anderson, South Carolina boy, and I think of Bryson Grizzle, and I'm like, they're the same people.
Perfect example.
They're the same people.
Yes.
Just completely different.
Right.
But the same people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I've known Bryson since he was...
I am so glad. I tell people, and I say this with all respect to Bryson and what he's doing, I'm so glad I didn't know that version of Bryson.
Yeah.
The version that Simeon and Johnny know and that you know, I'm so glad I don't know that version.
Right.
Because, you know, I've heard of some of the, you know, competitiveness and some of his
some of the youth camp
mouth
stories.
stuff and some of the youth camp stuff, right? And I'm thankful that I get to see him in the purity of his calling and not in the having to wade through some of those, you know, young. Because again, there's people in my life that saw me when I was young that I hate that they knew that version of me.
Same here, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
What do you think about the whole PD camp meeting? I mean, PD campground and campground, Malden campground stuff.
I'm ready to make a decision.
Yeah? Yeah?
Yep.
I heard a decision date is coming. Maybe by the time this post, we will know the date and we'll
I want to say it was, it's the...
Was it announced?
I think it's, I don't know if it's like widely announced.
Yeah.
But I've heard the Saturday after camp meeting.
Yeah, I've heard that as well, but I don't know that it's officially been.
I figure because we're supposed to get the proposal 30 days before, so we should get that pretty soon. I'm sure they'll send it by email. So we should have that possibly next week sometime.
Yeah.
I think the temperature of the state, and I'm by no means know all.
You are the thermometer.
No.
Let's hear what the temperature of the state is.
Not even close to the thermometer.
Thermometer.
I think everybody is ready to hear the proposal, and let's make a decision on moving forward.
You think multiple proposals are coming or just one?
Now that I don't know.
Interesting.
Depends on how much debate they want that day.
Yeah.
If they don't want a lot of debate, which I think it's going to be a lot of debate anyways, especially if the amendments or changes or...
Do you think they're doing it in, I heard Columbia. I heard Agape.
I heard.
Think they're doing that so that retired ministers can't travel to that?
I think they're doing that because it's central part of the state.
Smart.
I think moving forward, we've got to be cognizant of that fact.
Yeah.
That however this goes down, whether we keep this, sell that, sell everything, whatever, moving forward, we have to come under the banner of we're going to be South Carolina, And if doing stuff in the central part of the state is best, which I think it is, because geographically wise, and I may get crucified for this, but geographically wise, moving forward, if we can give everybody the same opportunity to travel to the place where we make the most important decisions that are going to dictate the future of our state, considering us and our children and the ones coming behind us, why not pick the place that's going to be the most easily acceptable for everybody?
For sure.
To have a chance to come.
And centrally, you have, I'll say 3 or 4 churches that, depending on the event that you're having,
Right.
can house us. You know,
Yeah.
maybe not camp meeting, but they could house
Right.
pretty much everything else, from International Praise to Agape to Lexington Church
Yep,
of God
yep.
to Sumter, Bethesda. You know, there's
I say Sumter's still close to that central part there.
yeah. So there's plenty there that can house most things.
Right.
Again, camp meeting wouldn't work there, but
No.
most everything else.
But then we have to, another thing, we have to decide on how we want to do events moving forward. We are
y'all talking about this inside of youth board meetings?
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, with the whole, I mean, it's no secret now, with the whole changing of us going somewhere else next year. And,
What?
Yeah. Sorry if I let the kid out of the bag, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows.
What? For camp?
Yeah.
Oh no!
By the way, his staff member's on the youth board. Don't let him fool you.
So we're talking about how we do ministry going forward.
Yeah,
And those are conversations that we have to have.
we have to have.
And we
As
have
difficult as that might be, it's
Correct.
required.
Correct. And we have not historically been good
No.
at having those conversations.
No.
Why?
Human nature.
We grew up in this, so we
Yeah.
can have
Now,
hard conversations.
I am as
that most
church of
people-
God as they come.
Absolutely.
You know that.
You and I are churchy to the core.
Both, on my way here, I stopped at the PD campground and got out, looked at the sign, okay? Both of those campgrounds are holy ground to
Absolutely.
me. And that's the way I view it.
Yeah.
But we can become so attached to what was.
And it clouds our vision of what could be.
Yes. And at the end of the day, emotions play into it some, but when we have to make justly good, sound decisions, we have to make it not based on emotions and say, what is best for the state?
Yeah.
And that's when we elect the 12 men to the council. That is what we are engrafting and empowering them, is saying we want y'all to make what's best for the state and then bring it back to us for when we vote on it and decide. And, of course, you've been on the council, so you know. But I think we have to get our mindset of maybe it's not always going to be the way it was. And will it be sad? Yeah. There will be things I missed if we go a different route. There'll be things I miss and different things. But at the end of the day, if we are still able to perform the ministry where people's lives are getting changed, at the end of the day, that's the most vital, important ministry the state as a whole can do.
Amen. Has Ethan Marcel Capel been a good board member?
Marcel, yes.
Good.
Yes.
Just want to make sure. Have you found that being a part of the youth board, sometimes people attach you to, I'll say, decisions, conversations, decisions, things that are happening in the state that you're stepping back and going, hey,
we got no power here.
No, nothing to do with me. And then they're frustrated. I'll say from a council perspective, whenever I was on the council, there's moments where you're like, hey, that had nothing to do with us.
There's a lot of people that think the youth board have more power than we do. I wish we had that kind of power. But at the end of the day, sometimes you got to go, no, that wasn't us.
Yeah.
That was not us.
And honestly, sometimes it's not Josh. Sometimes, and I say Josh, whoever the youth director is, sometimes it's the state council. Sometimes it's the state overseer. Sometimes it's a plethora of opportunities of things that it could have been that made the decision what the decision was.
Exactly.
There's moments where when I was on the council, where y'all would walk in and say, hey, here's what we're going to do. And we as a council would say, no, you're not.
Exactly.
And then he would have to walk back into y'all and go, no, we're not. Now what are we going to do?
Right.
And people were frustrated. I remember during the COVID years canceling youth camp and things of that nature, where that wasn't a Scotty decision, but Scotty kind of got the brunt of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was all him.
And so.
And one of the things I guess that has helped me, and I'm not ashamed of this, is being the son of a man who on a council 15, 16 years, something like that, I was privileged to see him work in environments where I understood that sometimes hard decisions have to be made.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we got to stand by it because it's what's best for all of us in that moment. Yeah. And we don't understand the whole scope of it because we weren't privileged to that conversation. But we're not privileged to every conversation. Yeah. That's just the way it goes. We have to trust, as hard as that might be sometimes, we have to entrust the men who ended up in that state, which I still preach and believe in the sovereignty of God.
Amen.
I believe whoever's in that room, God wanted in that room.
Absolutely. And
we have to trust that they're going to do what's best for the state. So when hard decisions are made, we have to remember that's why they were made.
Yeah. Your dad he is one of those figures inside of our state. Neil Nolan always says to me one of his favorite places to preach was for your dad at Buford. Mm-hmm. And he said that place was hopping.
Ahead of its time.
Rocking.
Ahead of its time.
And he always says, now I've asked your dad about this, and your dad said, no, it was time. But Neil always says he should have never left Buford. He said that place was unbelievable.
If Dad could have got the right music guy, he would have never left.
Yeah.
He was ahead of his time at Buford. I can remember, no joke, walking into a Ruby Tuesday that's still, well, I think it's something else, but the building's still there in Buford. Us walking down and sitting down, and the workers recognizing who he was and saying, we are so honored to have Pastor Flippo dining in here. We're going to turn his service on our TV because he was on TV down there. Way ahead of the time. He was on TV several hours a week down there. There is a big, I don't know if you've ever been to Buford Church, but there is a humongous Baptist church across the street. And there were times where the crowds would be so great at Buford that the cops that were doing traffic for the Baptist church had to stop and do traffic for the people coming out of the Buford church. So it was an incredible time there in those almost 6 years.
How old were you during that time?
I was 8 when we went. Okay. Left, it's 14.
Yeah.
So a lot of my small formative years.
Yeah. So you were molded by those times.
Yes. And I loved the cultural diversity of it. That's where my love for the culturally diverse churches came from. Yeah. Just love seeing the unity of all different ethnicities coming and worshiping. Because we
are a very white church.
Yes, we are.
Our denomination is very white.
We are.
We now are at a place to where, like, even our we'll talk about General Assembly here in a second. Our highest governing board or whatever, there's I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 that are African Americans, and we had this huge celebration that we're breaking some barriers inside of our denomination. But for our childhood, we were a very white church,
very much so.
And honestly, people who know me know I hate that. Like I am culturally diverse as they come. Internally, I am culturally diverse.
I spent 6 years in Buford,
right?
So I want diversity. One of the proudest moments I've had at Lando, and it'll be 5 years in September, is last year we took the first African American family in the church's history.
Yeah, I remember texting you and celebrating with you.
100+ years. That was a momentous occasion, and just seeing that kind of break and see the different diversities that have come in has been incredible. So I am all for that. And the guys who have produced and have shown and have proven themselves, I am all for.
And you have to fight for that. To the pastor watching this, you have to fight for that.
Yes, you do.
It's not just going to happen.
Right.
You got to fight for it.
Right.
You, Seth Brown.
Seth Michael.
Maybe Daniel Allen. There was a couple of you. Y'all had like a little nickname. What was?
Malden Mafia.
The Malden Mafia.
It was me, Seth, Daniel, and Ethan.
Ethan Capel.
Yes.
Marcel.
And
Evan.
Anthony. Anthony was in there too.
Your brother.
Now, shout out. Brandon Key will try to tell you he was, but he wasn't.
He wasn't. We don't let him in. So y'all just decided one day, hey, you know what? We're going to make a one name.
John Childers gave us that name.
Okay.
It was camp meeting. Lord, it's been a while ago.
The Malden Mafia. Did y'all have a cool sign y'all were doing?
No.
Oh, y'all show.
I know.
Mama
We should have.
Mafia.
I know. We should have had some MM4L shirts made of like the NWO or something like that. But we were standing on the back wall of the sound room or sound booth at the Malden Camp meeting because we were all ushering, and we were all in suits. And he come by. You know how John Childers is.
Mm-hmm.
My God, y'all are like the Malden Mafia here, and we just ran with it. So, John D, that's you.
I love it. Who on an international level do you have a relationship with? Anybody?
I have a tremendous relationship with Gary.
Okay.
Bishop Lewis, excuse me. Bishop
He is
Lewis.
our general overseer.
Yes, our general overseer. Of course, Bishop Doherty, second assistant. And I'm curating a relationship with Dr. Williams.
Phenomenal.
Yes, phenomenal.
God, he's awesome.
The orator of orators.
Man, he's something special.
Yes, very, very much so. And got kind of starting to curate with him, Barry Clardy.
Yeah.
Got a good relationship with him because Barry remembers, now this is just going to show how old Dad is, but Barry remembers being a little kid when Dad would run revivals at Liberty.
Nice.
And so we've had a relationship with him for a long time. So God, of course, Kip Box, definitely Kip. God has blessed me with open doors, and it's not been because I've tried to force myself into those positions.
Who's been a mentor to you through the years? Obviously, your dad. You know, he's been a huge impact. Anybody else been a mentor to you?
Definitely Kip Box.
Okay.
Gary Lewis. And there's some older ones like the Richard Porterfield. I'll give you a Richard Porterfield story.
Please.
I just started preaching, and I was teaching in Lawrence. And one day, Richard Porterfield called me up and said, I want you to come by my house because I had to go pretty much by the campground going home from
He's
Lawrence.
pastoring at this time?
No, he was retired.
Retired at this time.
And actually, side note, he's one of the only few guys I've ever seen that had been retired several years and still went on the state council. That shows the kind of reputation that man had, or still has. He called me and said, I want you to come to my house on the campground. So I come in, walk in. He said, I want you to come with me. He took me to his personal library.
Okay.
He said, you have free reign to take anything you want.
Let's go.
I want to pour into your ministry because I love you and I love your family and I love your dad.
Come on.
And I'll never forget what that man did for me that day when he said, anything you want in here. I said, well, you got any sermon outlines? But powerful moments along the journey like that, it's just been, it's seared into my brain that I can't forget.
It's incredible, man. You have been very blessed. I hope you know how incredibly blessed you are to be where you are in life, ministry, relationships that you have, the covering that you have from not only your dad who's protected you through the years, but the Malden Mafia that's protected you and other relationships like that, man. That's incredible that you're standing here today and this is who you are because of all of those relationships and all of those conversations that have made you the man that you are.
I have been abundantly blessed, and I'm not ashamed of that.
Yeah.
Now, with that also comes where there have been open doors because of that, there have been closed
doors, no doubt.
And that's a conversation a lot of people don't talk about as
no
well.
Doubt.
Is because there may be a perception that it's been the easy road, which it hasn't.
Yeah.
And so doors have closed because of that, but there have been way more open doors than closed doors. So I have been abundantly blessed.
Yeah, I remember maybe the year that – did Daniel get on the youth board the year that you didn't? That first?
Daniel went on 2016.
And you didn't?
No.
Okay, so I think it was that year where the conversations were, well, it's because of his dad who people didn't want to push him because they – and you're like, yeah, but Daniel went on because of – I don't understand how that works. So I don't want people to penalize you because of the family that you've come out of, because what you've built and what you've allowed God to do through you is absolutely incredible.
One of the most profound things that anyone's ever told me came from Bishop David Kemp. And David and my dad served several years on the council, got a great relationship. He said, the first time you go, it'll be because of who your dad is.
Yeah.
The second time you go, it'll be because of who you are.
No doubt.
And I've never forgotten that. You never squander the opportunity that's given you, or you won't get the opportunity to go back.
So good. All right, let's talk General Assembly really quickly, okay?
It.
I love General Assembly.
I do too.
Johnny has a countdown on his phone. How many days, Johnny? 77
My
days
man.
as of this recording
Ready.
to General Assembly. We love General Assembly. We love all things Church
Every
of
part
God,
of it.
every part of it, from the bylaws and the agendas and the things we're talking
Parliamentarian procedure, Robert's Rules are.
Your dad's one of our state parliamentarians,
and he's co-chair.
Oh man, it's so much fun. All of this, can you change this? What does it change? All of the details.
I love all the minute moves. If we move this guy here, then this chain happens. I love all the inner workings.
So we typically, as a state, kind of sit together in this bubble. I say bubble, this group of chairs. We're all sitting there. We're all working through. They're throwing this out, and we're going, Joe Grice is saying, hey, y'all understand if we change this, this is the chain reaction of this, and this is what it's going to mean 3 assemblies from now. And you're like, what? I had no clue that's what that was going to do. So you start learning some things. You start picking up some things. We're sitting there at assembly, and you're I guess this is probably your 3rd or 4th time on the assembly floor.
Be my 4th.
Your 4th time on the assembly floor. You're walking into this assembly. Where's your mind at? What are you thinking going into this assembly about the denomination as a whole? Some of the stuff that's coming out. We talked about. Jerry was very honest with us about what's happening on the agenda. What's your mind going into this assembly?
We are at a very pivotal time.
Yeah.
In the denomination's history, and we've got to decide. Are we going to stay a centralized government, or are we going to go to the more congregationalist model, which some of the things that have tried to transpire has kind of led to that? And I think it's going to be very heated discussion.
Talk through that really quickly. Centralized versus congregational. Explain why what somebody who's a young pastor that's coming to the assembly first time doesn't understand what you're saying. What are you saying?
So with the structure of the Church of God and how it's outlined in the minutes in our history, you've got the executive committee, the executive council, the general council, the general assembly. It's centralized in that there's a chain going up, and you are answerable to the denomination, and you pay your tithes, all that. Whereas Congregationalist, sort of more of the Southern Baptist
Assemblies
model.
Of God.
Yeah, Assemblies of God, Southern Baptist model, where you're a part of a group, but you're kind of by yourself.
Correct.
And so you're maybe not as answerable to that denomination as you are with us. And then you get into the realm of, well, are you going to be part of us, or are you going to be an affiliate of us? Which that's a different conversation.
Correct.
So understanding how we're going to go in the future when it comes to elected positions. How we want our leadership structured, how we want them to serve. I think that's a very critical and crucial decision we're going to have to make, and I'm glad it's on the agenda for us to be able to talk about.
I am as well. Because honestly, I feel the same exact way that Jerry Madden does. I could be easily swayed either way, but I would just love to know what the rules are.
Yeah.
Tell me what the rules are. If that's the rules, okay, perfect. Let's go that way.
Got to outline the rules.
I'm a rule follower.
I am
so
too.
If the rules are, hey, you could pastor a church and be the general overseer, then I'm like, hey, I may be interested in general overseer then, because
you and a bunch of others.
I mean, I don't want to give up what God is doing here for anything,
Yep.
So.
Well, you'd be crazy too.
I feel the exact same way.
But I think that's one of the reasons it's on the agenda now, because maybe it has been probably inferred.
Yeah.
And I know somewhere in the minutes, full-time, it's floated, whatever. But I think it's been more inferred, where now it's going to have the credence and the backing if it's voted in.
Yeah.
And it'll have the teeth with it to say these are the rules. And I think this is what's going to help us, because now we have the definite, okay, this is how it's going to be structured. This is how we're going to follow. So nobody can say, well, the way I interpreted this or the way I interpreted that, such and such, however you want to frame it.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the best way moving forward, us being able to talk about it now. But then dealing with even the Council of 18 vote.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys, to my knowledge, coming off. And the ones we put back on are going to help steer the future of this thing. And I'm just going to put this out there. I'm South Carolina. I don't see no reason why we shouldn't have at least 3 people.
Yeah.
On the Council of 18.
And South Carolina's terrible. We call it crabs in a bucket is what we call it in South Carolina. Where I remember 2 years ago where I was getting some votes,
Mm-hmm.
and there were guys around us in our group message saying vote for somebody else, and you're like, what are we doing?
We are not good at voting for our own because it's not us.
Crabs in a bucket. When one crab tries to get out,
Yes.
the other crabs pull them back down into the bucket.
And we all have lofty dreams. I mean, of course, all of us have the dream of being on the Council of 18.
Sure.
But then we have to come out of the loftiness of that dream back into the reality of everything. And if we have an opportunity to put, and I'm thankful that Jerry's on there because the South Carolina Voice is in there. But there's no reason why we can't have 2 or 3 people on the Council of 18, and why it has taken us so long to get somebody back on the council. Because when I look at the past generation of leaders, how people like David Kemp or an Eddie Allen or Al Sims or a Joe Grice or different ones like that, or Larry Flippo, and couldn't have been on, and before that, the Richard Porterfields, the Charlie Driggers, the different ones like that, why they could not have been on the Council of 18 is almost a sad thing, because they were so much incredible leaders. And if we could ever come in and say, these 2 or 3 guys, we're voting with them, because everybody comes with their own votes of influence. You're connected to 10 to 15 people that's not in South Carolina. I'm connected to other people that's not in South Carolina. That starts spreading. Now we have the ample opportunity to get 2 or 3 people on the Council of 18.
And every other state is having those conversations. We're not great at it in South Carolina.
Alabama's able to put 2 or 3 on. Tennessee's able to put 2 or 3 on, because their guys are saying, we want our state represented. Let's bind together and say we want to get these guys on there.
How about missions rep job? Thoughts on that? Not who, but just thoughts on.
If you could clearly define what it is.
Yeah.
Because kind of when it seems like it may be a holding place.
It is. It is.
Or when a guy maybe is on the fringe of it, we'll just put him in that. I think we could probably revamp that and make it.
Because there's some that are just so amazing at it.
Yes, there are some incredible mission reps. Some. And I think maybe that may be something we need to tweak again and kind of define what we might want there.
Were you here with Brother Probst whenever he was? I mean, you were obviously here, but were you pastoring or evangelizing?
No, I hadn't even got into ministry.
With Brother Probst, you hadn't at all? Gotcha. So Brother Gillum is who you kind of started ministry under?
Yes. Started evangelizing under Brother Gillum, but now I was close to Brother Probst with Dad being on the council with him and everything. So I had that relationship with Brother Probst, and I love Brother Probst.
Besides Kip Box, who's the best guest speaker you've ever had at your church?
I'm trying to think about all the ones that I've had. Outside of Kip, probably the one that had the greatest word and the greatest impact is Barry Clardy. Yeah, he came.
I never had him. I need to have him.
He's incredible.
Yeah,
he's great. He's great.
I always float his name around, but we've never.
He'll do your church right. You won't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, we never had that opportunity yet. So maybe I need to.
Definitely.
Maybe this is confirmation that I need to do that.
Receive it now.
So, General Assembly, is there anybody out there that you're excited to see what their future holds? Like what God does? Like, hey, going into Assembly, there's conversations of, I don't want to throw somebody's name out, but there's conversations of a Kip Box moving to a different state. Mm-hmm. There's conversations of a Barry Clardy, moving into a different role. Is there somebody out there that you're like, I can't wait to see what God does inside of that person's life at Assembly? Because we have friends that there's conversations of them going out to be overseers or youth directors or whatever.
The ones that I'm looking at, I don't know if they move this time. But definitely, and I give him a bunch of mess, but he is one of my good friends. I'm excited to see where Seth ends up going.
Yeah.
Excited to see where Shane ends up going.
Yeah.
And different overseers, just see where Barry goes, where Kip goes, and different ones like that.
Mark Lenhart, can't wait to see
Mark
where he goes.
Lenhart, yep. Because I think he'll be moving. I'm pretty sure. I guess I don't know, but I don't want to.
Only thing that's for sure is that
you don't know.
You don't know anything.
You don't know. And you hear a lot from the minor prophets, but until you hear the 5 major, it don't matter. But I'm excited to see because they're South Carolina guys. They got connection to South Carolina, so I'm always going to be watching to see where they end up, where they go, because at the end of the day, that's a win for South Carolina in my book. At the end of the day, I can celebrate that because, man, they're from South Carolina.
Do you think anybody shows up with the Church of God suit on that everybody's been posting AI all over social media?
If Johnny Kilman doesn't show up with that, I'm going to rebuke him on the assembly floor.
I'm very sure he has it ordered. I am very sure of that.
I would be surprised if a few do not come to the assembly with that.
I agree. Totally.
I told Gary the whole committee needs to wear that one morning session of the business session. It would be incredible.
I agree totally. When's the agenda get posted or sent out to us?
30 days before.
Gotcha. So we got some time.
Yeah.
Because we're only at 76 right now.
Right.
So we got some time.
Right. You got some time. I know it's set and finalized. I know they're having the parliamentarian meetings right now and stuff like that.
I saw Patrick Conley's a parliamentarian now.
He is. Got his official pin and everything.
Yeah.
I said, that's pretty cool right
Johnny
there.
is so jealous of that.
Oh, man. Johnny, you got to get in on it, man.
So jealous.
Got to get in on it. We're going to need some future parliamentarians.
I love it. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you for making the drive down here and being a part of this.
This is the pinnacle.
This is awesome, man. Awesome.
I appreciate it,
proud
buddy.
of what God is doing in you, through you, cheering you on, man. I mean it.
Appreciate it.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
Peace. Let's go.